Okay, three, two, one. Okay, let's wait for it to connect. You'll take
No
a while.
problem. I have plenty of time for you today.
Yay, let's do 10 hours of sharing.
Yoo, I'll be learning a lot from you. You're amazing doing all this interviews. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Hi, parents. This is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box. And today we have a rainy day and it's really a good time to sleep. And happy Teachers Day in advance to the parents who really teach your kids at home and to all the amazing teachers out there. And today we have an amazing teacher with us in this sharing as well. Hello, Evelyn.
Hi, John. Happy Thursday to the parents and you.
Hi, thanks for being here. And I know that your dog is napping, so we have to just be prepared just in case your dog wakes up and wants to join you in the sharing.
Absolutely. In fact, because I'm doing a lot of Zoom classes these days, he's my new ballet assistant. So he would check up my students when I'm teaching.
Yeah, great. Okay, just okay. Let me introduce you first. Yeah, because I think some of the parents may or may not know you. Okay, so Evelyn, she's a founder of the Graceful Swan Holistic Ballet Educator, former SG's Dance Cultural Ambassador, Ballet Exam Moderator, and Youth Dance Competition Judge. And today she's going to share with us the art of developing confidence, better posture, and discipline through ballet. And parents, just in case you are wondering why I brought up Evelyn to our show, and the reason is because some of our students in the past, they have been learning ballet since very young, and I realized that these kids not only do well in school, but also in ballet as well. So, but again, I think that they are also very disciplined in a sense, be it how they stand and their posture, which always amazed me, and the dedication and the commitment into their work, which I think somehow the lessons that they learn from ballet may have influence in how they the kind of efforts that they put into their work as well. Yeah. So thanks for being here, and today I want to learn a lot from you, Evelyn.
Well, thank you. We always learn from each other, and I think I learn much more from you.
All right, okay. Could you be able to share with us like your backstory, how you end up doing like what you love today? And I really like what you have been doing, like wow, the educator for ballet ambassador in a cultural sense, as well as the moderation plus competition judge. Wow. So how do you end up doing what you are doing?
Well, it might be quite a long story if you're up for it, John. So I
You have one
started
hour.
ballet. Oh, thank you. I started ballet actually at 8 years old. It's not that a very young age compared to many children these days. So I
Mm-hmm.
started when I remembered when I saw someone dancing on TV, and I told my mom, hey, I really wanted to try ballet. So that was my first baby step at 8 years old to go into a ballet class. And it was something I was really, really passionate about. Apart from doing like other kids, we are engaged in different other activities. And then in those days, and even up to now, ballet exams was very common. So I was put in exams, and then the next step was my teacher wanted to groom me to be a ballet teacher. But I was kind of a rebel. I wanted to explore more learnings first before I became a teacher. So I went into university. I got scholarship to go to the US to learn and study, to immerse in more learnings. And at that time, my dad said, no, doing dancing, because, as a very concerned Asian parent, he's like, no, you're not going to have money, you're going to starve. And so I was very mindful, and I was very fortunate because I excelled not only academically, my dance teachers really liked me in school, so I had extra actually complimentary classes. And so after that, I came back to Singapore to spend some time with my family. I had a job in the US, but then the passion was in dance. And so one of my bosses in Singapore told me, hey, you are doing a 9 to 5 job, but at the end of the day, you're always running off to teach ballet.
Mm-hmm.
And that journey just expanded once I decided not to listen to my dad. You know, I said, you know, I really have to go for what I really like. I love ballet so much. So I did at that time, and then I became a professional dancer. I did a lot of commercial work, and people came to know me. So yeah, then I represented Singapore in those days, because back in our age, we are actually Singapore is a very young country, and we are actually, my batch is actually a third generation of dancers in ballet or in a lot of early dance forms. So a lot of my friends who are actually in this industry, who actually remain in Singapore, are the first graduates in like LaSalle or Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts. But I chose a different path because I didn't want to have a typical learning curve for me. I wanted to take risks and do things that's quite untypical of the common ballet route in Singapore. So, but then that was great, because then later on, about 10 years ago, I actually suffered as a professional dancer. It was the peak of my career, actually. I decided that something wasn't quite in sync. I still love teaching, and I was dancing in the day full time, and I was spending time teaching classes whenever I can. And I actually suffered burnt out, and at the time, about 10 years ago, I had a post-traumatic disorder after having a traumatic head and neck injury, not from dancing, but from an accident, from abusive incidents. So so that really changed my life, because in that sense, I was pretty much right in the scene, being invited to do events. I was invited by ministers. I was on local telly and magazines and all. So suddenly I became very nervous. I was like a little child, and I was the neck and head injury. The neurosurgeon said there was no way I could recover at that time. But because I have been studying dance and movement back in university, and then also in other academic institutions, then I realized, no, because the person who knows your body the best is yourself. And I truly believe through dance, actually, and movement holistically, I could recover and be able to move. So at that time, I could only get out of my bed probably a couple of hours, and I could only, from working all the time, 6 days a week, to suddenly having to work only 2 days, 2 days or 3 days tops, with 2 hours a day. I was completely fatigued, and I actually lost a bit of my memory, and my cognitive skills deteriorated very badly. So I would have problem remembering people's names as well. But it was through that time when I came back to ballet, and I didn't feel sorry for myself. I said, you know what? Ballet taught me to overcome pains and all. And this incident actually taught me to be more patient with myself, because if you ask anyone with the experience of PTSD, sometimes you get unpredictable outbursts of your moods, and I learned to be very patient with myself. And in the process, at that time when I was recovering, I suddenly had influx of students who came for ballet classes with learning or emotional challenges, or even adults who suddenly had a head surgery, and then they come to my class. I was like, where do you hear about me? I did not advertise, because I was keeping a very, very low profile, because being out seeing people again got me very nervous, and it took me years to actually overcome my nervousness. And sometimes I still get jittery, but students don't see me as that as parents, because I practice it every single day. As that is that discipline that ballet fortunately has brought in my life, because to be a good dancer or a world-class dancer, you need that self-motivation to practice every day, and even when things don't go well, and because our bodies are instruments to perform. And if your body is not and your mind are not in sync and working together, you have to be really self-motivated to push yourself along. So through that journey while I was recovering, and I was working with different children, and it was so beautiful, because I was working with a school where they have children who had spectrums of the ADHD and all kinds of different challenges. And there I was like, they asked me to teach ballet. And So, but through ballet in a non-traditional way, while still putting in the fundamentals of techniques, I saw them actually getting more confident. And also, in a way, it was very healing for me because I see children who would not be able to speak in school all day in school, and being able to see the changes. I had a pair of twins who could not talk in school, and the school didn't tell me initially what was the diagnosis, but the children do not speak in school until they go home all day. And through dance, I've noticed their posture and the way they react started changing. So that was very rewarding over the years. And then I got better. And then I realized that, because of the classical music along with the constant movements that we're doing, it did something to my brain and my body. And so although when I was teaching little kids, I'm used to teaching all levels and the higher levels, suddenly I was back to the baby nursery classes. And I was learning my flexibility with them as well. And a lot of kids, if parents don't realize, more kids are more inflexible these days compared to kids in the past because of the way they are carrying their bags. They're having much heavier bags in school.
Mm-hmm.
And some of my teens, when students in school, they asked me, Ms. Evelyn, can you carry my bag? And I sure. I didn't realize the bag was so heavy. It's like a luggage to go for a holiday for a couple of weeks. I was like, girls, you should not be carrying such heavy bags. But they say, I have to because it's part of the school curriculum and the school bag that we have to carry. They have to carry the same school bag in a particular school. So I said, that is not good for your posture. So I started noticing, especially also for teen moms, actually, I would actually encourage in ballet, anyone who are having a slouching body over the years, especially when they're going through puberty, that's not so good for anyone in general.
Mm-hmm.
So the teens with the backs make it worse. And so I noticed with ballet, they started opening up more. So they will come into class this way, and after spending all the time on their phone and computers, then they come to class. The moment they open the door, they know that I've drilled them that it's important to be aware of your posture. And so at that time, I was working with one school, and I was giving myself a little challenge that I could work 1 day a week. And then at the time, the owner of the school really liked what I was doing. So from 1 day a week, I expanded the school through my teaching to 5 days program. So it was a beautiful journey because I remember the time where we had to do choreography and I wasn't able to remember how to do choreographies. I had trouble syncing people's hands together with kids holding hands. It didn't work in my brain at the time anymore. So I would get my mom and my siblings to, whenever I had to do choreography at the time, I would get them to stand there and I said, could you help me? Because it didn't link to me. I had to feel their hands and do it. So it taught me a lot more patience. And at the time, I didn't tell the owner of the school. I guess I became a bit more withdrawn and introvert. And I felt like, I didn't want to tell anyone my health condition because it's not something I want people to feel pitiful for me. I want to overcome my challenges and see where I can. So I produced a concert after concert for the school. And then at about 5 years ago, I decided, I reached my peak. Each year I came out with really unconventional ballet recitals, and each time children blossomed. And so that was when I decided I'm going to open the Graceful Swan to help more children and moms to become more confident through their mindset and achieve greater performance excellence. So here am I. And so it's not about a lot of schools practice. It's very common and understandable in ballet. They want especially in sex, where they want children to go to competition exams, but my approach is a bit different these days after all that years of winning competitions and also having injuries, and learning that actually children can actually learn and become more confident in a holistic way. So here are the kids that I've been teaching. They may not be the ones who are wanting, mommy, I want to win the trophy, but they tell me what their goals are, and I help them to work together to achieve it. Yeah.
At the same time, I also want to share some of the videos that you have done. Is it okay I can share some videos? from
Absolutely.
your Facebook page. Yeah, because I think as I shared just now, I think for ballet it's a very visual experience. Yeah, so I definitely know that your students love you and you are a great ballet teacher. So I was want to share with the parents like what are some of the discipline that a child can learn from ballet, and also because I think that it's also is a very graceful art in a sense where they teach the mind and the body to be gracious as well and also be disciplined and be always be conscious of the posture. Yeah, because it's a choreography in a sense. Yeah. So let
Okay.
me just do a quick screen share. And if you tell us about what's happening here, like I can see a mom and a child practicing in
Oh,
the living room.
I decided during the COVID time. So the adult student was my student in my studio classes, and I didn't realize that she had a little one. So during the circuit phase two time, she was at home, and I was actually teaching a lot of online classes. And I decided, because I love live music and I've done a lot of live performance, and I said, hey, why don't I integrate having an online live musician and
Mm,
me teaching a Swan Lake choreography. So I was putting myself in quite a bit of challenge because I had invited a lovely Singapore orchestra, symphony orchestra first violinist to it. But the result was spectacular because the children and parents really loved that live music, and we just had to battle with the Wi-Fi bits. And but then the kids and the mom told me they were sweating so much because usually in the choreography in any dance school, it takes about 8 to even 12 weeks to learn a simple choreography. So I was putting them in a sport, learning one of the Swan Lake choreography. So I was sweating while they were sweating, trying to learn some techniques, and everyone was of a different level to learn at the same time. So the little child Coco, she really enjoyed ballet. So this was one of the fun clips that we had.
mm. And what about this? I can see three very cute children doing
Oh, so,
ballet.
yeah. This is one of the camps. Some of the kids are not in there. I usually ask parents for permission to actually video them. So this was
Mm-hmm.
after we were able to resume back in the studio. So we were doing a previous performance in a Nutcracker dance that we did, and so the girls are. Some of the girls are learning for the first time. Some of them had been in other dance school and they found that it was too easy for them. So one of the little girls on the back, she wanted to challenge herself and she came for this class. So they're doing port de bras over here, one of the uh, typical exercises that we do in ballet, no matter what age we go up to, from 6 and above. So port de bras is a carriage of arms. And particularly, I love doing arm work too for them because of that slouching, as I was mentioning. And this teaches them how to carry their arms and the way they hold their neck and how they use their eyes keeps them focused too. So this is one of the little videos actually a mom requested for me to video because parents were not allowed to be in the studio due to the social distancing. So the parents were very happy that I did this little video for them.
Mm. And I'm very curious, yeah, because I also heard that you mentioned when you started off learning ballet at the age of 8, it's already like and quite late in the sense that there are many kids of today having learned ballet at an earlier age. Yeah. So what are the motivations that behind of parents sending their kids to learn ballet lessons?
Sorry, what are the what?
What sorry, yeah. What are the main factors that motivated parents to send her kid for ballet lessons at an early age?
Okay, so I noticed a trend or the in Singapore in particular, there have been over the years more parents sending kids as young as 18 months to
18
actually three
months.
years old. To, yes, actually, my about 7 years ago, my first private student was actually 14 months, and I was like, why would you want to send 14 months kids? In those days, we were probably the only school that had such young kids. 2 years, 2.5 was already very young, but 14 months. But the mom was a professional pianist and she wanted me to groom her child. But the beauty of it initially, none of the teachers, they were like, no way, it's too challenging because they're wearing diapers and all. But I noticed something with actually 18 months to 2.5 years old. Their learning capacity is much faster. They may not, especially 14 to 21 months, they may not be able to execute the movement. But then I had the parents telling me they were practicing when they're in the toilet. They're sitting on a toilet bowl. They're learning how to. They remember what teacher said, and they did their butterfly hands and the toes. They would be teaching the parents, and that is something I get all my students to learn, no matter what age they are. If you are able to teach your parent, doesn't matter who at home, it could be your grandpa, grandma. If you're able to teach it, it means that you have learned something and you absorb what I taught. So I noticed that the parents in Singapore, more Asian parents in particular, sent the kids younger and younger to classes. So I found between 3 to 5 years old kids learning much faster. So as they're learning much faster, I find that because when they learn faster, when they go to school for academic purposes, their ability would, I truly believe that actually will be a little faster than those who were not exposed to either music or ballet, or maybe any physical movement at a much younger age. So that is the benefit I've seen. But I would also caution some parents I've seen when I was invited to some friends' studios to help them consult to observe their teachers, especially their teaching little ones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes parents tend to push their children in the class, and the children are wailing because they are frightened. So the key is for any parent, or when they're selecting schools or teachers, the children have to feel safe. And once the children, especially at such a young age, is the first step for them to be kind of taking their arms off mommy or daddy, and to step in there is their first experience and memory. So if that memory is not good, they're going to tell you they hate certain things. So I know all parents, they would tell at some point in your younger age, or even your kids, they'll say, Daddy, Mommy, I hate something. And you ask them why. They may not give you the full reason, but something unpleasant happened at some point, or they didn't want to do it. So at a young age, I would say you have to nurture them, and it's very individualized. You can't, even though they're in a group setting, the coach that's teaching them has to really observe how they are responding for the first time and on a regular basis, because kids at that young age, their moods do change quite a bit each time.
Yes, I can see that. I was going through some photos that you took last year around Christmas, and so yeah, I can see some of the kids are really young.
Yes, the youngest are actually 3 years old. So this was a charity event I did for the Club Rainbow. So actually, I do a lot of charity dance events, fundraising before I open up my school, and I still enjoy doing that whenever I have my free time. So this event was actually, I won't say perhaps instigated when one of my students was telling me that she never had a chance to do recitals because these kids are from different schools. They're not in a ballet studio. It's so much easier when everyone is actually in a dance studio and everyone's learning in the same capacity. But these kids are learning at different term start and different levels. And one of the kids said, I will be going back home to my country, and I really love Singapore, and I won't ever get to wear a costume and perform with some of my friends. So that was like, so I did an intensive 1 month boot camp. So I came up with a story to teach about confidence and to teach empathy and confidence about a little child who was kind of alone on Christmas Day. And Christmas is about the joy of giving and receiving, and these toys come alive. And so my main character, one of a new ballet boy, he was actually Shuya. He was actually having one of the lollies. He was in a box, a Christmas box that I actually created, and so he was hiding in a box. So I truly felt that the children had a remarkable time because during the rehearsal, especially if anyone, parent who are familiar with a dance concert, it usually for any school it takes about 6 months to produce,
Wow.
to teach them. So, but then in the international schools that have been providing programs and was teaching over the years, children do not go into a ballet program because everyone is of a different level, so they may come and go because for expats they can only stay for a certain amount of time. So unlike in a local school setting or a dance studio, they can progress together. So that was the time where I was for many years I was challenged to actually teach children for the first time who have never done any ballet or dance to be able to come up with a concert usually in a 10 weeks basis. And so that challenged me, and that taught me a lot of timeliness, to work in a time frame, to work with children on different strengths. So then last year when I did this, as I mentioned, it's not really about me because in many schools they only want to show the students who have been looking perfect. But this recital wasn't about me at all. It's about children able to perform in a very short timing and to feel confident about that and to have good memories during Christmas, and those who no longer live here can go home with good memories of that. So that was my motto. And then the money we raised, we actually donated to the Club Rainbow because there are chronically ill children who are actually dying, and so they were never had a chance after this Christmas, actually last Christmas, to live again. So that was my motto, to help these kids, all of these kids, whether they're healthy or unwell in the hospital.
Yes, and I really like those pictures of the kids enjoying ballet. And let me just take out some. Yeah, because I think it really impresses me in a sense of when the kids learn ballet. I also see beyond the picture in the sense that they have learned the discipline as well, and they have learned like not to give up, as well as they have learned to be committed to the. Okay, I'm not sure what's the exact words. Is it dance steps or the choreography?
Oh, when they first come to ballet or in every ballet class, you first learn the dance exercise. Oh, so this is Michan. So these are this is Bat Wonton that they were doing, the learning to point their feet. And we do a couple of exercises. So usually I do about 12 exercises with them, and they learn choreography. It could be center work. So in every ballet school that teaches, they will always do the bar work first, because with the ballet bar, it teaches them the discipline and also learning how to balance with especially a young age, and to warm up at the bar. So I always tell the girls, no matter what age they are in our school, your ballet bar is your foundation. So if you are strong in your ballet work at the bar, when you come to do your center work in the middle without the bar, you're feeling more comfortable. And when you start doing dance choreographies, it will I won't say it will get super easier, because it takes time like all other art forms. You need that discipline and the daily practice, like playing the piano. Doing it 5 times only builds your muscle memory for now, but you have to do it 500 times to see the difference. So like children, quite often when they do their homework, they say it's too difficult, they want to give up. So I have some students, when they come in with their academic homework, they have, Miss Evelyn, how do I do a mathematics homework? And then I tell them, do you know that ballet is also about mathematics? And they go, oh my goodness, don't say that. I hate mathematics. I say, no, it's not, because if you think of your geometric positions, the angles like this girl, and how they hold their arms, it's the precision of the angle that you have to hold on to. So sometimes I tell them that, and they're like, some of them will like roll their eyes like, no, I still hate math. But you like ballet. So, and you'll be surprised. And I told them, sometimes they don't believe it. I said, one of my university professors, she had a double major she was a mathematics professor, a master's in mathematics, and also in choreography and ballet. So it all goes hand in hand, and her choreographies are excellent. So they kept quiet, and it does help them. So sometimes they need some time to actually listen and actually absorb it, but they do listen, you know.
Yes, and I definitely agree with you that ballet is like mathematics. Yeah, in the sense of like from this picture, I can see that it's also about good balancing and finding the right center of gravity, such that um she's able to stand in this position for a long time. Yeah.
Yes. And if you look at her, where she's looking at, I said it's about the focus, because where you look is where you're going to end up. So if the focus is on the floor, or the focus is, it's actually very applicable to life for them. If you are always looking down about every single thing in school or everything you're trying to achieve, you might find it very hard, because all you're seeing is just what's on the floor. But if you're looking right in front, your perspective changes. And even though it takes forever just to get this pose, there for parents who are new, in order to execute this pose, I'm actually telling them about 10 different things in order to get this to pose. But it didn't get them by, like, 2 weeks. It took them months, because to get the legs there, they had to do regular daily exercises, even when they're not in class. So some of the girls are brilliant, because they do remember. I love giving homework. I'm a teacher in that sense. I love giving homework, and I'm a true believer of not nagging, because I don't think anyone likes nagging. And I know a lot of daddies, they do not like them when their wives nag. So I tell some of my professor friends who are professors, don't tell your college students that you're nagging at them to do it. Just get them to repeat it, and when they repeat it, the results come with time. So yeah, some of these girls are the repetition of what they have been practicing.
Yes, and thanks for sharing so much, because I think that it really covers what is essential to do well in school as well. And I think because we serve a Facebook group of parents who teach their kids math at home, and I like the parts when you shared about the going through the warm up, and you mentioned that they are like uh it's always a warm up routine with a fixed number of steps. Yeah, so I think that if I can relate it to maths, a lot of times when kids do their homework, be it science or math or the language one, they
Mm-hmm.
tend to just jump in and trying to swim or they sink. Yeah, but I think that the ballet lessons that these kids have been taking really give them the structure of learning. Like, for example, before you engage in something that's more advanced or go into your main routine, you must always do your warm up.
Yes, absolutely. And also, that is something I love to share with parents, especially that has also been a trend of, because now social media with Instagram, kids are going on and they're seeing stunts and all. I said, really, if you remember the root of the tradition of classical ballet, is teaching you that discipline and the techniques based on your ages. But there are some kids who are trying, not our students, or mostly some kids who are trying on their own. They're trying to do stunts and all. And I said, it can ruin and affect your long-term dancing future, because injuries take longer to recover. So this is one of my beautiful students, Zita. She's actually learning in Europe, because during the COVID she had to go back home. So she was actually in her living room practicing, and she recently came back, so she was really happy. But I've noticed particularly, and I was sharing with my mom and some parents, it was a interesting actually phenomenon for me to see that children who were learning with me through a box, and some of them do not have like a big TV to watch on, from a little laptop, they were learning with me on Zoom. And I've noticed that techniques have improved even though they were not in the studio with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that it's that focus there, and it's that daily. Well, not daily, for some of them they did twice a week or 3 times a week with me, but it's that repetition that they practice that got them stronger. So some of the kids I saw last Saturday for the first time, they were able to balance much stronger. The ones who had been learning on Zoom with me, even though I have not touched them, and none of them have ballet bars at home. And versus the ones who haven't danced because they have just been staying home and not doing any dancing, there's definitely a shift. a difference for them. So it goes to show to you with any academic or any dance form or movements that we're doing, when you repeatedly do, it shows results. It doesn't matter where you are, but of course you have to have the right coaching and in a safe environment to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, and as you're sharing, it reminded me of a primary six girl who I taught 2 years ago. And in fact, when she came in just a few months before the PSLE, she was anxious and she didn't really like maths, and because she didn't do well, yeah, and she almost failed. Yeah, so but what I realized that she had been learning ballet since like age 5 or 6, and I realized that along the way, okay, what actually happened was within a very short time she went from just pass to, and she scored 88 upon 100 for her prelim, which is like
Wonderful. Yeah.
just about 2 months before PSLE. And mom came and thanked me because she was in my class. Yeah, but I realized that as you're sharing, and I realized that actually the attitude as well, I mean, that she has gained from the ballet lessons, as well as the discipline that she has instilled in her life because of the ballet lessons, have somehow also helped me as a teacher to work with her such that she's able to get her results faster. Yeah. So I really like what you have shared, because you have given me new insights in the sense that, wow, um a lot of children, when they come for math lesson, a lot of times, yes, we can help the child, but I think at the same time, different children come in with different challenges. It could be poor foundation. It could be lack of techniques, like what you have shared, like in ballet lessons, when they come in, if they learn just from like those do-it-yourself Instagram videos, it may do more harm than good, because they didn't focus on what is like what you call it as a foundation.
Yes, you're right on that. Yes. And I would like to add, you're right on that in academics, because in the past there's been a stereotype about dancers um, tend to be poorer in the academics because dancing or is what they focus on. But I've noticed actually with kids, because in particular in the schools, the ones who excel in our classes, were the top girls or guys in the classes, they are sports captain, they're valedictorian in classes in school. So they are not weak in academics, because we do actually. I'm also very academically inclined on.
Doesn't mean you can't be good in something else. You just have to know how to prioritize and make time for everything. So like last week, when just before the kids went back to school, one of the group of girls, because they're all on different schedule. So I'm on the American, the French, the English schedule, and so everyone goes back on different schedule, and the Singaporean holidays are coming up. So she asked me, Miss Evelyn, what was your schedule like when you were about my age? Then I said, okay, that, Monday, Tuesday, there's always tuition. And I said, a typical Saturday will be, I was as a leader in the Girl Guides. So I would be spending 3 hours in school. And after that, 3 hours in ballet. In those days, 3 hours ballet is luxurious. I said 3 hours of ballet with no AC. That's my ballet teacher. So, and right after 3 hours ballet, I have 3 hours of mathematics and science. So I have to take the bus to go for my lesson. And then after that, I have to visit my grandma, because it's a family dinner every weekend. So that's my routine. And they were quite shocked. And I said, well, and Monday to Friday, there will still be the school band and other speech and drama and other things. So they were shocked. They said, I thought you only did ballet. I said, no, I had a very strict piano teacher who teaches with the cane too. And that was a creepy teacher. But then in those days, it was a bit more strict teaching, very, I would say, abusive teaching in those days. But they do train some of the really good students as well. But so they were shocked. They said, I thought it was much easier for you guys in those days. I said, no, as all parents, they would like their kids to be enrolled in different things. And as a student, I was actually interested in sports too. I would love to play basketball, touch rugby with the boys, and football and all. So in that sense, ballet would get you, I would say super competitive, but that's a strict to improve yourself. When you have the desire to improve yourself, you naturally would be, I will, uh, perhaps when you're in a, whether in an academic setting or a sports setting, you want to be better than the rest, because you're not trying to say in that sense that I'm trying to be better than my friends, but it's more of a innate learning that I want to be better than myself each time I try to accomplish something. So that's what I gain from ballet, and that's what I love and like to share with my students. It's not about any competition of trophies you get. It's really about winning yourself each time, exploring what are your weaknesses and strengths, and getting better each time.
Well, and I really like the statements that you have shared, to be better than yourself each
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Yeah. I think as you're sharing, it really makes me reflect like what is going on in like some of the classes in schools. Yeah, because a lot of times when I ask the child like how's your math test or how's your recent math exam, and there's this child who shared with me that he's got 85 upon 100. And is 85 a high marks to you, Evelyn? 85 marks is high, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can see that he's actually disappointed because he said that his best friend got an A star, which is 91. Yeah, so even though he has improved, but I think there's always this unhealthy comparison among peers. And I know that sometimes we cannot help it because when the teacher gave back the exam papers in the class, and children being children, they were like, oh, so how many marks did you get? And if you get higher or lower, yeah. So I really like the discipline that you have shared in a sense of kids. I think at the end of the day, they are actually trying to improve and be better than themselves.
Yes, that is very important in my school, in my teaching, and what my values are. As I agreed with you, there's a lot of, I won't say that's a lot. It's an overemphasis, probably the best word in Singapore, on tests and what you get from if you get an A, and what it means. Because to me, it's based on my experiences as a dancer. Yes, I've achieved a lot of goals in my competitions, and but then it's through that journey that you realize that when you had an injury, all these, and when family are unwell or anything that happened to someone, you realize that the grades are not so important, than to see a person healthy and happy and enjoying what they're doing. And because when they enjoy what they're doing, they really do their best, because you don't have to nag at them. They just want to do it. And it's so far, actually all our students, our school don't focus on exams, because I really enjoy that they like, if they want to go for exams, I'm happy to put them in exams or competitions, which some of the private students come in when they want to go for an international competition or local dance competition. Then they come to me for private coaching. But otherwise, the kids, they just want to see how good they are each time. So like this picture, the grandpa and grandma, they were visiting from France. And so this picture was, they wanted to take this picture, and then grandpa was saying, maybe we can send this picture to Paris Opera Ballet and to show them they're actually quite good at ballet. So I actually sent it to one of the lovely ballet master from Paris Opera Ballet. This picture, it's just a laughter for us, but they enjoy it. And so Louise, actually, she is one of my dear students. She actually had a back, she fell from a horse.
Oh.
I actually have a couple of students with several back injuries. And if you had fallen or hurt your back before, and if you didn't have the proper rehab and physio, or even with physio, it takes time, your flexibility is not the same. So because of also, unfortunately, with my injuries and all, I had to regain actually flexibility in a whole different way. So I started teaching her some techniques that I do for myself. And so during this COVID too, I've noticed her flexibility has soared tremendously. So just recently, she started doing some gymnastic as well, and her flexibility, because she has regained that confidence and flexibility. So her mom is like super happy, and she's showing off to her friends at school now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really like this picture because it's really heartwarming. And I actually have interviewed dad and his daughter, and she's actually an indoor skydiving champion, and she's holding on to the world record the of doing it at the higher speeds in a wind tunnel. Yeah, and she's a Singaporean. And the dad shared with me that every time without fail, the grandparents will always be with the kid during the competition as well as the weekly training. Yeah, so when I can see that the grandparents are also so encouraging and so supportive, I think it really helps the child in building her esteem as well as her confidence as well, which I believe that will spill over to her school, her daily life, as well as be whatever things that she likes to do, and she'll excel in that.
Yes, indeed, you're right. We are actually very family-oriented focus in our school. So I actually run quite a fair bit of parents bonding, and sometimes I see grandma and grandpa. So last year when I did another charity fundraising, I do so many fundraising. Sometimes I have to recall which fundraising event I do. But it was one where the grandpas and grandmas came along, and I got the daddies to dance because it's kind of
So
fun
cute.
getting the daddies to do ballet. I did it for one of the schools, and the children absolutely were rolling on the floor because as parents, they're like, "Oh, how come you didn't look so good?" or something. Some parents may say that, but then when they tried it, some of the daddies, they said, "Oh, I kind of feel like I'm out of shape just trying to do one." Across. I've never seen the kids laugh, and some of them were tearing out of joy, and it was just too amusing. And I realized that it also got the parents to realize. Oh, they told me, "Oh, Miss Evelyn, I didn't realize ballet was so tough until maybe just do like 10 minutes of it." I said, yes, because it takes a certain kind of personality to want to do it from a fun level to pre-professional to professional. So I have absolute respect for any children who tries their best, even though they may not be super good compared to what they think their friends are. But because they're trying, that's sufficient for me.
Wow, and I really love the parts that you engage the daddies to try to dance ballet. Yeah, because I think it really matches the experience that I have. Is many parents have told me that and the child's exam papers are hard. Oh, sorry, are very simple. Yeah, but again, I think it's not fair for the kid in the sense of they are seeing it from the adult's lens. And I always ask the parents, so have you attempted all the questions in the test paper? And they said no. Yeah, then I will always ask themselves, I will ask them, so what makes you feel that it's simple, even though it's beside the point that it's a primary school paper. Yeah, so I really like the parts that you say that it'll be nice for the parents to actually do what the children are doing. And I think there's this part which is the parents also being very vulnerable in the sense that they show the kids, hey, actually daddy is trying and he is making a fool out of himself. Yeah, but but I think in the eyes of most kids is the daddy or the mommy is the like the almighty and is someone who will never fail. Yeah, but I think sometimes it really helps the parents to better bond with the kids. When the child knows that, hey, actually daddy um or I'm actually better than that in the ballet skills.
Yes. It's actually, so I do spot some daddies with talent, though. I do tell them that do you have some talent? Maybe you want to take some classes too with the kids. But yes, as I was saying, the bonding, the relationship through ballet, and because of the workshop we do, the children and the parents' relationship grows stronger. And that's something I really love because as I was growing up, parents are very busy working. And it was always my desire as a little girl to watch my dad to come to watch my open house, even as much as he wants to. He's busy, running his business. So uh, I would always envision my parents there. So when I opened up my school, I wanted parents who are available. Even when I tell some of the kids, when parents are unable to come, I'm there watching you, I'm cheering you on, and you don't have to feel like nobody's there to watch you because you are doing your best. And parents who can come in, and we have lovely parents, because some parents notice that some kids do not have parents who are able to make it. They will be cheering them on, and most of my pictures are from parents, and even with this COVID, parents sending me pictures whatever they're doing. And to me, I'm not looking on my social media to put the most perfect kid picture, but to showcase whatever the parents are happy to share about the children. And if that's a way to make them feel, that the children are feeling good about themselves, then why not? Well, I'm more than happy to share on my profile.
Yeah, and I think we also want to ensure that the child feels supported as well. And I happen to find this picture. Wow, I think even though the picture is not very sharp, but I can detect the smile on the girl's face, and it's so warm.
Oh yes, it was her brother. Well, I love giving my students a bouquet of flowers. So in a traditional ballet concert, usually the performers, the ballerinas, will get flowers on stage when they see in a real concert. So
Mm-hmm.
I like to give my students this. So her brother was standing there with also a bouquet of flowers. So she was a little shy because she loves flowers, and it was the first time receiving two bouquet of flowers, and it was her first time doing a solo. So for Mirai, she was very bold because she told me we actually did 4 hours of private class to learn a choreography. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
in the last minute, parents texted she wanted to do a dance on. I said, wow, she wants to do like a 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes choreography to learn in 4 hours to showcase for this charity event I did. So this event is actually another charitable performance. You do not see ballet usually in a cafe. It's
Mm-hmm.
too little space, but I was actually supporting one of my students' mom who was then recently divorced, and she was running two popular restaurants in Singapore. So, and to boost my students' confidence too, as well as support her mom's business, I decided to do a fundraising event there. So the kids were like, "Oh, Miss Evelyn, the space is so small," and but the kids, they enjoyed themselves so much, and so she was actually still very nervous, but that's the key, just to enjoy and to see where they improve their confidence from each time.
Just curious, how old is this girl?
Maybe at that time, I think she's about 9. Yeah, she's about 9.
Wow, 9 years old.
Yes,
And I wouldn't even dare to go up on to the stage to perform at the age of 9. Wow, she's so daring.
she is, because she is her nature. She's also quite with ballet too, and she's occupied with a lot of activity. She's very resilient in that sense. She wants to do it. So when
Mm.
she made her mind, I've noticed a lot of girls when she was learning ballet from a different school, but one of the top schools in Singapore, and she came to me and she really enjoyed my teaching, and she said she wants to do certain things to improve. So we work on that too. So she was afraid, and in fact, a lot of the girls, in fact, one of the youngest girl over there, and in the group you can't see they're 3 years old. So you normally don't send 3 years old out on any concerts, but this was another 2 months rehearsal choreography event that I did for them. And because the children enjoy it, they love it so much, they don't feel so intimidated. So that is a key. Because I worked as a professional commercial performer for many years too. So from performing on the stage to performing in on a different level, where you're up close and personal, not on the such close setting, but it takes a different level of confidence. So I wanted to introduce to ballerinas a new way of gaining confidence too, that dancing is not just on a platform that is very far away, like on the Esplanade or Marina Bay Sands, but if you're able to perform and be at ease with in a small group setting just around you, not too far, your confidence level changes in a whole different way, and the way you perform and the way you react to the choreography and your audience will be impacted differently. So that is what I introduced my little ballerinas up to a higher level. But for the higher level ballerinas, I usually do not put them in the settings, because when they go on point on a special shoes, they need a certain dance flooring. So usually with fun charity fun events where floorings are kind of more suitable for little ones, then I'll create that activity for the kids to enjoy.
Mm. As you're sharing for the past 1 hour, and I realized that you are a different kind of teacher. Yeah, because my impression of a ballet class is, okay, everybody in the studio and then they're doing their routines. And I think where did I get this impression from the movies?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's quite normal. In those days, the movies with the cane too. I had teachers with cane, that they come near you and you stand really still. I do get my strict moment, but for me, it's really that balance, because I came from very, very strict. I had my first teacher was considered the scariest teacher in Singapore. Then parents were scared of them, so you would not go into the ballet class. You would not, if you're late for even 1 minute, you can forget about going to class. Or if your hair is not gelled up, and every lesson your hair must be in a perfect position. And so I was brought up with that discipline. But children are very different now, and I still embrace the traditional discipline of ballet. I love it, but also because I've been exposed to modern ways of teaching, and having studied psychology and different academic ways to improve children learning, I realize it's the balance. It's about the good thing in a way for Asian kids, they tend to listen with that kind of, nope, you have to do it. But with a lot of kids who are international, they do not listen to you, sit down, and you have to come up with a different way. So when my local teachers teach that, at first they were like, it's a little different teaching the French kids and the English kids and the American kids. I said, but then that teaches you a whole new level of teaching. So when you go back into the ballet studio, your teaching is not just kids who want to come in with a certain character. You have kids who may not do ballet, but because we're kids in school, they're all mixed up in different ways, mixed up with a dynamic that you have to increase your teaching abilities to cater to them, to help them to actually get to their highest potential. So that improves you as a teacher. So they actually find it, the local teachers, the younger teachers, they actually find it more rewarding than being in a typical studio just doing that, like how you sit in a movie, you do this and do this. And they even teachers, they love that creativity that, like I'm sure with children, you have one children who goes to school, they're very happy. By the time they come home, so their mood changes. So with that, the teachers learn that the children changes so much in their mood within a ballet class. They have to deliver their best each time, and each lesson will be different. They may have when I first started teaching in schools instead of the dance schools, it was a transition for me, because I would have all my curriculum. This is what I want to do. I'm the kind that I want to tick my boxes. But I went in, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to reframe all my curriculum and still deliver it in a different way, and get them excited and focused. But that's the exciting bit about teaching, I would say, for any educators.
Yes, and I also have my fair share of experience having taught kids from other countries, and I think what works for me is I think that kids being kids, they will most likely listen to you if they like you as a teacher. Yeah. So the bonding part is something that I think all the teachers have to work on, like the kind of the rapport built between the teacher and the students. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Because children, after all, they know what they enjoy, they know what they do not like. It's so with also the cultural, and Singapore is such a beautiful country that we have diversity and cultural appreciation. So it doesn't matter whether you're Singaporean or of a different diversity. When you come in and you learn together, they appreciate and they respect much more. So I see the respect my Singaporean student and my expat student, when they come in, they want to learn from each other, and they may not understand sometimes certain words with each other, but they get together and that friendship blossoms, and and you see a whole different level of confidence in the children.
Yeah, and I like to watch kids play, even from different nationalities, and even though they may not be able to communicate with one another. I mean, I think as you're sharing that, I have this scene in my head, and it's a group of kids, from different races and different nationalities, and they are all playing at the background. I mean, at the playground. Yeah. So, and a lot of times, you can see that the kids are not talking to each other, but somehow they are able to have fun and ended up they are playing together, even though they may not be able to speak each other's language.
Absolutely. In fact, I love what you're saying because John, when we immerse children at a younger age, between 0 to 7 years old, the way we educate them will impact them very differently. So because of the diversity we have, and children learn the respect, and because of ballet, we have different roles and characters. They learn different scenes, and they realize that skin color is not an issue. The language barrier is not an issue. When Miss Evelyn's face turned stern, they said I don't get angry, but they said, they do monitor because your body language emotes and indicates something. So that's the beauty I see, that ballet dance itself draw students together to bond, and even if they don't understand each other. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think as an educator myself, I'm always on the lookout for opportunities to upgrade my teaching skills. Yeah. So will I get a chance to be a good ballet teacher, so that I can up my teaching skill?
I'll be happy to teach you, and you likewise. I can be your mathematics student. You may not enjoy it so much because I'll probably ask you a million questions, but yes, we learn, and I think that's as an educator, no matter what field you're in, when we're constantly learning, the students want to emulate you. And students these days, I realize a lot of students these days, if the teacher can't do it, they probably don't think you're quite capable. So even though, at certain ages, we were like, oh my goodness, this movement, especially it's different when you're teaching and when you're a professional dancer. So one of my friends who owned one of the top ballet studios in Singapore too, she said, when you stop dancing and suddenly you have to do a certain movement, it takes time to actually build up that. So we have to actually support and actually applaud for the students who actually keep practicing to get there. And then when they see their teachers do that, they feel very rewarding that the teacher can do that and they can do so too. Yes.
Yeah, have I ever told you that I really love this photo?
Oh no, thank you. It's actually, I do like this picture. It's one of my favorite pictures too. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think that we have really entered into the 12:06. Yeah. So Evelyn, thanks so much for sharing. And at the same time, I think that there's some parents who may be very keen to get in touch with you. Could you tell them how can they get in touch with you?
They can actually approach me on the gracefulswan.com. Yes, my website, and they can contact me via email, or yes, drop us a text. In fact, John, we will be having a September local school holiday workshops next week. So the parents who are keen, they can always contact us. We're on Instagram and Facebook and on the website. So either way, we will always strive to contact and reply to all the responses as soon as possible.
And tell us about this summer camp. I mean, just a sentence or two before we wrap up.
Oh, this summer camp, I just had the virtual summer camps recently. I decided, because I love traveling too, and a lot of people love traveling, in fact. So we were stuck in Singapore. So I decided to come up a theme of going around the world in our living room.
Wow.
So I had different countries, like going to France and Bali, which I love, different countries, and immersing. So each of the weeks, I actually had dance choreographies of traditional classical dance roles immersed into this. So, for example, the one in India, I had a traditional dance where fuse it with ballet where the kids learn it. So the kids are in their living room. They can dress up if they want. Sometimes when I say certain things and the kids go in a room and they get something else, I don't think like the other day, one of my youngest student online, this 3 years old boy, I said, okay, get a drum. And then he's usually there, and it's amazing how 3 years old can focus on Zoom too. I'm really impressed. And he walks away for a minute. Then I realized, because he heard what I said, he went to his room to get his drum set. And I was like, oh, that was so cute. I wasn't expecting him to have a drum, because in ballet, sometimes we do movements and we don't expect everyone to have the character or clothes. But he heard me and he did that. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. Yeah, so parents, if you are keen to get in touch with Evelyn, you can go to the gracefulswan.com. Okay, at the same time, I think it's also, I will need to share a disclaimer. Yeah, because there are some parents who are thinking that all this live sharing is paid advertisement. Yeah, so for parents, the reason why I brought Evelyn up is because I think okay, I think I have never told you before. You really inspire me.
Sorry, say it again.
And I think that I have not told you before. You are someone who have always inspired me, inspired me. Yeah. So as an educator also, and because I think that you have lots of experience teaching kids as well, and I think from the pictures of that you have shown me, and the smiles of the kids, they really enjoy your lessons, and I feel that I think it's because I think you are a good teacher.
Oh, thank you. I'm always learning every day. Actually, I would like to say that it's the students who teach me. Yes, and every different student that taught me, and that's make us learning and improving as a teacher.
Great. All right. So out of so many tips that you have shared with the parents on how to build confidence and discipline, so what will be one key takeaway for the parents, so that if they want to, like, say, hey, can I just apply one technique, maybe from ballet, or can be back to the school, on how to foster confidence in their kids?
Yes, one thing I will give to all parents, even if your kids are not doing ballet or interested in dancing, how they're sitting will impact them, and especially in the growing years. So especially in ballet, for example, this is also for you, John, because you stare at the screen too. Yes.
Yes.
So if you interlace your hands, yeah. So I'm giving you this exercise. I give it to my mom too, and you place it at the back of your neck. Okay, you place it at the back of your neck, and you gently push the back of your neck towards your hand, and you release it, and you push it back. This is something I would like all parents, including especially daddies too, yes, and children, to do that. Because what is happening to a lot of them, I'll turn to the side to show you, a lot of them, if you watch, you observe it, and I get my students to watch just walking outside, notice how people are kind of slouching a bit more. If they have a neck injury, that's understandable, because when I had a neck injury, I could not open up my back. It took me years to learn to readapt. So this actually helps to open up the chest too, and it's not very hard, and it's not very girlish. If some boys say, oh, it's too ballet, I don't like it, it's not manly enough. But this also helps to, for some of my adult clients, this area feels very tight, because they're corporate stuff, and they're tight on their shoulders. This opens up, and if they practice this just a couple of times a day, you don't have to do it 100 times, and you stand up and you walk, you may feel quite a different, because I'm just doing a couple of times. And if you are a person who's doing that, I'll show you if you're doing that, you tend to be sinking your head. And over the years, and because our head is very heavy, that weight, and people may not say it, it's not really a balletic thing or a ballet teacher's technique to actually introduce to all students, but it's something I realize very important. And the more you spend time in this tilted angle for your head, the faster your bones, in a way, you're aging faster. So, and also when you see students in school, whether for parents or when you see your kids coming home, if they're doing that and looking there, it's telling you something about their emotion. Yes. So when when I had some students who were depressive and suicidal, some students who are very high achievers, they were very suicidal. And I noticed I don't have to look at their wrist. I know sometimes when they slash their wrist, I can tell from the delinquent
Mm,
students' families. But by looking at the way they look and how something is not right. So
mm,
this is my takeaway for parents, not only to build confidence, to start noticing them, how they feel. If they win a sports game or they win something, you see the children, they will be like moving in a different way. But once you
mm,
see kids this way, it's time to notice them, not just, um, academically, but something what's going on emotionally, and that remind them, because as they grow older, you want them to feel this way. And just imagine if you go into an interview this way, how would your interviewer see you versus they're doing that?
mm,
And what is that going to impact you, especially growing girls? I said to you, because some girls are particularly, I told some dance mom, because some kids, well, puberty, they tend to be more well endowed than usual. They start hunching more.
mm,
And the taller girls too. I said that doesn't help you in your growth, because you're ashamed, and there's no need to be ashamed of your body. You're just growing, and just be comfortable and lift up the sternum and keep that. Yes. So
mm.
that's my takeaway for all parents. I get my mom to do that too, because after staring at the computer or the thing, you need to practice that. Yeah.
Okay, just a quick one because I didn't really catch that. So first of all, is to
Interlace your hands.
interlace.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, my hair's blocking. You
Okay.
place it at the
So
back
what
of
do we
your
do?
neck,
Okay
and
then.
instead of pulling your hands forward, you place your hands aside, and you gently place your neck against. You press your neck gently against the hand and
Okay.
release it. Press it
Release it.
against that and
Okay.
release it. Yes.
Okay.
So
It's a head that is going backwards rather than the hands
yes,
moving.
the head will gently go back, but it's your neck, because what we're trying to do is get the neck. Most of the time, the neck is a little this way for those who have been staring at the screen and all.
Okay.
So when you push the neck gently back, that it opens up also your sternum, because you're starting to use your chest more. Because
Mm.
when you're in this way, you see the neck. If you try it, John, immediately just round your shoulders. Notice how your neck kind of rounds a little gently.
Yeah, I can feel the kind of like stress.
Yes, and also because your traps are quite tight, I can tell you.
Ah.
Yeah, I'll give you some tips for after that if you like, for your
Yeah, yeah,
shoulder.
yeah.
It's
Sure,
definitely
sure.
pulling you. Are you a right-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can tell. Yes, it shows that. Okay, so yeah, so that exercise, I get some of the girls do so when they can, and parents too.
So it's a neck that pushes
Yes,
back.
that neck we want to do, because you see by the neck is so much important that people may disregard. By pushing the back neck at the neck back, and you open up, you see by going in and out, you're activating these muscles, you're opening it up, and when you
Yes.
let it go, you do not feel yourself sinking down so much.
Mm.
So that when the kids walk around, they may feel not so good, but you get them practice just 5 times. But do avoid letting your parents or anyone do it by doing this. They like to bring their hands in. That's not the workout we want, because that's just movement. We are trying to get them to open up their back and their shoulders, and also to release tension over there. Yes, and so then they walk. When they get back to their school bag, it's inevitable with their school bags they will run because of the pressure on their spine. But if they could practice this without their school bag on a regular basis, like muscle memory, 5 times a day may not do a dramatic, but if you practice all the time, every day for a consistent several months, this will become a habitual thing. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks, Evelyn. Later, I will ask you about what are the exercise I can do for myself.
Sure, yes.
Uh,
I love doing that, so it will be my pleasure.
Okay, and I always ask my guests one last question before I let them go. Yeah, right. Okay. So as you know that our primary sixers they have to sit for their PSLE, which is coming soon, like beginning of October. Yeah, so probably many kids are feeling the tension now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if I can invite you to walk down your memory lane, yeah, from the older self back to the 12-year-old Evelyn, yeah, then you are seeing her and she's so close to you and you can almost touch her. Yeah. So what will you tell the 12-year-old Evelyn?
I'll tell her I'm good enough. And as long as I try And when I say try, it doesn't mean that I attempt it once. I keep practicing. And it doesn't matter who looks at me and gives me the comment, because my focus is I want to be my best, and I'll go forth and I'll do my best for myself. And because I'm doing my best for myself, and whatever results I get, I'll be satisfied and I will be grateful for that, because I tried my best and my parents sees me doing it, or my peers, and that's all that matters.
Anything else you want to add?
A note for the PSLE kids, you are very blessed with a wonderful teacher, John, to educate parents and teachers as well as children. I would say because school education can be, I won't say can be, it's much tougher than those days, my days, or a lot of the people around me. By attempting new ways to doing things and to approach your problems in your academics will be the best way, rather than thinking of, oh, there's only one way to do it. If you can't solve it, there's always someone else who you can talk to seek advice. Even if they can't give you the perfect solution, reach out to others. That's what I would like to give to every 12-year-old, because you will be experiencing stress, whether it's stress from parents, from school, or sometimes mostly stress from yourself. You're beating yourself up. And I'll say, stop beating yourself up, because Miss Evelyn used to be good at beating myself up too, and even my sibling too. She can get top A's and one of the top student in school, and she'll be beating herself up because it's just 1 point lesser. And that's fortunate, unfortunate in a way, the culture that has built us. But because I would like to emphasize, with education that's pushing you forward, you become much stronger, and you will be of a different leader in our nation, in any country you go to, versus us, because our education system was much different in those days. So keep striving.
Great. Thanks, Evelyn, for your time. Really thank you for all the tips that you have shared in ballet and how they can be related and applied in school as well.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me, John. It's been such a pleasure talking to you as always.
Great. Okay, parents, thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you around and have a great lunch. Yeah. Okay, take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye, John.
Okay, please hold on for